Another week, another phone review. This week we have the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. ZDNet's Matt Miller has been testing out this device for us. Matt, as always, just like we always start these, just go ahead and tell us a little bit about the device.
Sure. So Samsung announced the Galaxy S21 FE, and the FE, for people that don't know, is the fan edition. They launched the S20 FE a couple years ago, and we'll talk a little bit about the differences there in a minute. But so we have the new S21 FE. This is the graphite color. There's four new colors, kind of unusual colors. They have a graphite, a lavender, olive, and white. This price remains the same, $699.99. It's a very nice device. I mean, it has a lovely, Samsung makes fantastic displays. It's got a 6.4-inch, 120 hertz refresh rate, has a little hole punch camera for the front facing camera on it. Three cameras on the back, 12 megapixel, and an 8 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical zoom. Has a very nice 32 megapixel front facing camera on it, and a big battery, 4,500 milliampere battery. IP68, water, dust resistant, all of that. So if you looked at all the specs, you'd be like, oh, that's a flagship phone. The one major difference really is the back is plastic, which, some people, how can you have a plastic phone at $700? But to be honest, I mean, having a plastic back may be actually safer, because if you drop it and things, it's not going to shatter like the glass backs, right? It does have a
Right.
metal frame steel. It still has the aluminum frame around it and everything else. And it supports all the typical Samsung stuff like Samsung DeX and that kind of thing. So, overall, a pretty good phone, right? And one question people might ask is, how is it different than the one from 2 years ago? That one
Yeah.
was the fan edition. And the one difference is it does not have expandable storage, so it has no micro SD card. Some people I've seen online are a little upset about that, because the fan edition was kind of created to still have things like expandable storage and things that are going away. This one
Mhm.
doesn't have that, but this one has updated processors, right? It has all the flagship stuff, the Snapdragon 888. Granted, the new phones, the S22 will have a newer processor, but the 888 is a
Mhm.
very solid processor from 2021. And it comes with Android 12 and One UI 4, which means it's going to be upgradable for another couple years longer than the S20. So if you want a fan edition, throw out the S20 and just get the S21 for sure, right? And to
Mhm.
be honest, the S21 or the S20 FE, I recommended it to a bunch of family and friends because it saved them $300 over the flagships, and they all still love them. It's a very capable phone.
Um, so that brings me to my next question. Obviously, it's a fan edition phone. It's not the flagship. When you start to maybe compare this device to an iPhone, a Pixel phone, what, how is that stacking up? Is it comparable to a flagship at all, or am I going to spend my money elsewhere?
Yeah, so if I start with the Samsung, so you look at the S21 Plus. So the S21 had three phones last year. The Ultra, which I won't compare because that had, super zoom camera, all this other stuff.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
expensive. Then there was the Plus and the S21. This one is really comparable, I think, to the S21 Plus as far as the size of the display and everything else. And if you look at that, it's $300 less. So that's a great deal. There's a
Yeah.
plastic, there's a glass back. Okay. Do you hate plastic? Okay. And then there's ultra wideband, which, to be honest, most people, especially people buying the fan edition, don't even know what that's for and don't ever use it, right? And this one does, the S21 series is getting upgraded to Android 12 and One UI 4. But as we know, Samsung's not the fastest at those major firmware updates. So you get a phone here that starts out with the latest and greatest software, and it's going to be another year longer. So, I mean, if you're looking at buying a Samsung phone, I wouldn't buy the S21 Plus flagship. I would go with something like this. Now, next month, it's highly likely that we're going to see the S22 series from Samsung. But again, those are going to be priced probably the same as the S21, which is going to be $300 more expensive than this. So this is really a price savings option for people. But you do kind of have to be a Samsung fan, right? You like decks, you like the Samsung internet, you like the Samsung gallery. And to be honest, some of those apps that are installed on here, I personally prefer more than the Google software and things like that. But things have changed, right? So in the Samsung world, this is a great device. But as you asked about, what about the other people, right? So if you look, I think the Pixel 6 may have killed this phone, because the Pixel 6, Google came in pretty aggressively on the Pixel 6 pricing. You can get a 8 gigabyte RAM, 128 storage Pixel 6 for $599. So 100 less than this phone. And the Pixel has all the flagship internals, and they have their cameras, which, as we know, the Pixel cameras are fantastic, in large part because of Google's algorithms and all of Google's software and things like that are behind it. And the one thing with the Pixels is you can trust that you're going to get software updates for years, and it's going to be well supported. I mean, we see, the next month comes around, it's the 1st of March, bam, Google sends out the update for their Pixel phones. So you can rely on that. So I don't know, this is a tough sell if you're not a Samsung fan, because in my opinion, I would much rather go get a Pixel 6 rather than a S21 FE, to be honest. iPhones are a little bit different. They're similar in price, but that's a whole nother operating system. People kind of, I think if they're going for Android, they're going to be looking at probably a Pixel or a Samsung, to be honest. And to be honest, I don't have a Pixel 6. I bought the Pixel 4a 5G. Yeah, it's kind of a mid-ranger, but it doesn't perform like one. And right now, that thing is $349. I mean, if you're getting into an Android phone, that's a tough one to pass up. So the thing about this is it'll probably do pretty well because there are Samsung fans. And as we know with Samsung, they always launch a phone with crazy deals, right? And I just got an email yesterday. I think right now, if you buy this, it's like a $50 or $100 store credit. You get a free set of earbuds, Galaxy Buds, or you can upgrade to a higher level Galaxy Buds and get a $50 discount. I mean, keep an eye out, because carriers and Samsung do offer launch deals that are very compelling. So that's something to consider too.
Yeah, Samsung does a fantastic job, not only getting you to buy devices, but getting you in their ecosystem with the buds and with those store credits. You've taken advantage before. They do a really good job trying to get you the best deal possible to get you to use their device. Matt, thank you so much for testing out this phone. As always, we have links to this device directly below, and we have Matt's written review linked as well. If you use this, we'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to stick with ZDNet for all things tech.